Next up is another friend of mine who you've heard on the show, Amanda Love. Amanda, I think, lives in Austin. Is that right, Amanda? And we've done a cooking seminar together. Some of you may have come to it a few years ago. We need to do some more of those. She's going to talk to you about some real specific things today and be around to answer your questions. She's got a little bit different take on how to do cooking and how to be healthy. She's known as the Barefoot Cook, Amanda Love. And to advance it, it's this one. Okay. And back is that one. Okay.
Hello, everybody. It's great to be back in my hometown, Dallas, Texas. I live in Austin, and it's exciting to get to come back up here and teach. I just found an article this morning in the Wall Street Journal that says, "Is this the end of the soft drink era? Coca-Cola, PepsiCo, and Dr. Pepper Snapple Group, Inc. have struggled to reverse the decline in soda consumption in the U.S., where shoppers increasingly reach for water, coffee, and other drinks." I feel really sorry for them. For them. Yes, they are declining in over 50 gallons per capita consumption of soft drinks in 2005 to now 42.4 gallons per capita, and they're down to only selling 9.27 billion cases of soda in 2011. So it's still a lot of soda, but it is declining, and it signifies that I think this is the end of the soft drink era, junk food era, and time for a health revolution. And because of all this soft drink and junk food that we've been consuming for so long, now we have to make time to heal from all the damage done. And so I've created a cleanse, because so many people ask me about cleansing. It's one of the most common questions I get, is how to cleanse safely and effectively. And so I've been creating this cleanse over the last 15 years. So that's what I'm here to share with you today. So this cleanse is called the Nourishing Cleanse, and it's a 10-day cleanse. It's a broth-based cleanse. It's nutrient-dense healing foods. It's also an elimination diet, and it includes rejuvenating practices and physical and spiritual renewal. So these are the basic tenets of the cleanse. How this cleanse differs from other cleanses is that it serves to keep your blood sugar in balance, where many cleanses suggest rather extreme things like just juicing or just drinking the master cleanser, which is water and maple syrup and cayenne pepper and lemon juice, or just eating fruit or just eating nothing at all. And yes, you can have some benefits. You'll probably lose some weight. You might release some toxins. But it's also very likely that you're going to have major blood sugar imbalance and probably feel not so great. And the downside of having blood sugar imbalance is that it's not just a temporary problem. It can actually lead to major cortisol issues, long-term adrenal fatigue, pancreatic stress, liver stress. So this is one of the major issues that I am dealing with in my practice as a nutrition consultant is blood sugar. So many people have blood sugar issues. So this cleanse will actually help to stabilize your blood sugar. So you actually get to eat food on this cleanse. There's no starving. It's not unpleasant because you have to force yourself not to eat. Also, the main focus of this cleanse is on healing the gut and improving the gut flora. So this is one of the best things that you can do for your health, is to heal your gut. And the gut or gastrointestinal system, where digestion happens, is really the most important thing in our body. And if you're looking to heal on any level, really almost any issue, healing the gut is one of the best things that you can do. The gut is the center of our body. It's where we assimilate, absorb food, And in many of us, it's not working properly, and that leads to many other issues and symptoms. So you might have heard that nowadays many kids have autism, ADD, ADHD, bipolar. It's on the rise at an alarming rate. And a lot of this has to do with the gut. It's not just the brain, it's also the gut. And it's related to what these kids are eating or not eating and what the parents ate even before conception. And by healing and sealing the gut, you can actually reverse these kinds of diseases and issues. So there have been many cases of autism that have been healed by simply healing the gut. And I'll tell you how it works. Basically, how these issues develop is usually from leaky gut. Have you heard of leaky gut? So if you haven't, you'll probably be hearing about it more and more. Leaky gut is basically very common. Many people have it. And like say you suddenly find if you eat dairy or wheat or eggs, you have an allergic reaction, or any other food. You go to the doctor and you ask, what's wrong with me? Why am I having this issue? I never had this issue before. And the doctor might run a panel of tests on you and say, oh yes, you have this allergy and you have 30 other food sensitivities, or maybe 50 or 100, and you just have to avoid those foods for the rest of your life, and that's just how it is. But they're missing one side of the story, which is that if you can heal the gut, then you can reverse all of those food allergies. And I'm sure you know many, if not one, many people or kids that now have a range of food sensitivities. Now nuts are banned in most schools because so many kids are having reactions, anaphylactic shock from consuming one peanut, for example. And so that's because their gut is in a state of it's called leaky gut, basically, where when you eat food, it goes into your stomach, and usually in this case, you don't have enough hydrochloric acid, or it's not acidic enough, so the food does not get broken down properly. The protein does not get broken down properly. So it then goes into the small intestine, and instead of being assimilated at a normal rate, it actually just sits there and rots, and it creates a little hole in the small intestine lining. And so then that food goes through the small intestine at too big of a size, where the small intestine should be very porous but very fine. So the food has to go through at a very small particle. And so then in this case of leaky gut, the food goes through at too big of a size, and your body sends out antibodies in attack of that food, thinking that it's an enemy. And so it attacks the food that might normally be a healthy food, like eggs or milk or wheat or something like that. And that attack creates some kind of reaction. It could be anaphylactic shock. It could be a big outbreak of mumps, or your throat swelling up, or hives, or an allergic reaction of some sort, sniffing, bloating, indigestion, something like that. And so many of us have that on some kind of subtle level. But by healing the gut, you can actually seal that intestinal lining so that you do not have such a porous small intestine anymore, and it works like it's supposed to. And then all those food sensitivities can be a thing of the past. So that's really the key, is to heal and seal the gut so you actually absorb all the nutrition in your food. Eating is more economical because then you're getting out of it what you need to get out of the food, and you likely feel a lot better as well. So that's a main focus of this cleanse. And it also focuses on identifying food sensitivities and helping to stabilize hormones, thyroid, and adrenals, which are really essential for your health. So why should we cleanse? It's a great idea to cleanse, to take a break from normal eating patterns, just to give our body a break. Every ancient culture had some way of cleansing or fasting to just give their body a break at different times. It's ideal to cleanse once a season if you can, even if it's just for 1 day or 3 days or 10 days or longer, to become aware of how we are affected by common foods we eat. So if you take out a lot of the common foods that you eat for a while, And when you go back to eating them again, you can become aware of how they affect you. And that's really great to notice, because if you eat the same thing every day, say you eat eggs every day, but you stop eating them for 10 days, then when you eat them again, you can see, oh, eggs make me feel amazing. I love how eggs make me feel, or eggs don't agree with me. Now I know. This cleanse can also help to clean out toxins, heavy metals, parasites, and bad bacteria, which, if you've consumed sugar, white flour, refined processed foods, then you've created a breeding ground for these kinds of creatures. And to heal and rejuvenate our body and just give it a rest. So cleansing can be as much a spiritual renewal as it is a physical renewal. It can really be a time just to give your body and your spirit a rest. How this cleanse benefits you: by healing and sealing the gut, increasing absorption and assimilation of nutrients, delivering probiotic-rich foods to boost immunity and create strong line of defense. So our gut is basically just like the soil. You want to have lots of good critters, good microflora in our gut. That's what creates your immunity. And by eating fermented foods, you create a lot of good, strong probiotics, microflora in your gut. There's many things that we've done to kill the microflora in our gut, like taking antibiotics, high stress, eating processed refined foods. If you do not give natural childbirth, then your child is less likely to have all that good microflora, because children get that as they pass through the birth canal. This cleanse also creates stable blood sugar with healthy proteins and fats, and quick vitamin and mineral delivery via fresh veggie juices. So these are the main components of the cleanse. Broth is the main thing that you're going to be emphasizing throughout the day, along with good fat, probiotics, veggies, protein, sunshine, fresh air and nature, and some movement and circulation. So the healing foods to emphasize are the bone broth, and you can have this in the form of soups and stews. You can make your own delicious chicken soup, beef soup, creamy vegetable soups, as long as it has the bone broth in it. Probiotic-rich foods like cultured veggies, beet kvass. When I say cultured veggies, I mean like sauerkraut, kimchi, cultured carrots, cultured beets. Those all are vegetables that have been broken down, and the microflora comes alive and increases the vitamin and mineral content greatly in that food, and it also increases the enzyme content greatly. Beet kvass is an ancient Russian beverage. It's really easy to make. You just chop up beets, put them in a jar, cover them with water, add some salt, and let it sit for about 5 days, and then you have this sour, fizzy, effervescent drink that's full of good bacteria and enzymes. And then coconut kefir, it's from the coconut, it's the water of the coconut, and by fermenting that, you get lots of good enzymes and bacteria as well. Normally, I recommend other fermented foods like kefir, like yogurt, that have that are very beneficial as well, but they have dairy, and for just this 10 days, this cleanse is dairy-free, just to see how dairy reacts in your body. But normally, I do recommend good quality dairy, like raw, ideally, unpasteurized or low-temp pasteurized. It's a very healing, amazing food. This cleanse also has healing fats, so any traditional fat, any fat that's been around for the last few thousand years or millions of years is welcome to be eaten. So the only fats that are not allowed on the cleanse are post-World War II industrialized fats like canola oil, soy, cottonseed oil, and corn oil. So any kind of good old-fashioned fat like butter is welcome, ghee, which is clarified butter, coconut oil, olive oil, and any kind of animal fats are all great on the cleanse. And I know we've all been told that animal fats are bad for us for the last 30, 40 years, but it's actually not true. We really do need animal fats because they're the only source of fat-soluble vitamins, A, D, E, and K, and those are the fats that create a strong, healthy structure that are really essential for our health and well-being and for us to have a full, healthy, strong structure. All traditional peoples ate traditional fats. All of our ancestors, our great-grandparents, if you look at your great-grandparents' pictures, you'll usually see they have beautiful broad faces with great bone structure and beautiful teeth, with all their teeth, including their wisdom teeth, and that's because they were eating real food, farm-fresh food. Most people used to live on farms and ate cream and butter and eggs and meat that they raised themselves, and so they were getting these fat-soluble vitamins. But in the last 30, 40 years, we've been following this low-fat diet advice, and when we cut out the egg yolks and the whole milk and the cream and the butter and the red meat with the fat and the bacon and the lard, then we're cutting out the fat-soluble vitamins. So most people get excited when they come to my office to get nutrition advice because I give them permission to eat all the foods that they've been avoiding for at least a decade, and they get really excited that they can eat these delicious foods again that feel satiating and satisfying. Quality proteins, so meats, wild fish, game, lentils, and mung beans are allowed as well. For if someone's a vegetarian and they want to do this cleanse, lentils and mung beans are a really high protein, good source for beans. And then fresh green veggie drinks, so fresh raw and cooked organic veggies. Lots of veggies are on the cleanse. So these are some of the common inflammatory foods to avoid on the cleanse: dairy, eggs, sugar, caffeine, including chocolate, all gluten-containing grains like wheat, spelt, oats, rye, barley, as well as corn, which does not have gluten, but it's still a common grain that causes people food sensitivities, nuts, and soy. So this is just for the cleanse, but these are some of the top allergen foods that many people, if they have a food allergy, are sensitive to or allergic to at least one of these foods. And so there's more foods on the list if you download the cleanse, but these are the basic ones to avoid. And even just doing the avoid list is a cleanse in and of itself. So even if you only did this and you didn't incorporate the other healing foods, this would still be cleansing for you. So like I said, dairy and eggs I normally do think is a good food, but a lot of people are only consuming conventional dairy that's highly pasteurized, homogenized from factory farm-raised animals, and that's why many people are lactose intolerant, because they're consuming dairy that's really not meant to be digested. And when they get that out of their system, they find, oh, my allergies clear up, my digestive problems, bloating clears up, my skin issues clear up, and then they could reintroduce some good quality dairy, raw, low temp pasteurized, raw cheese, things like that, and see how they feel. And still, some people just cannot tolerate dairy, and so goat milk might be a better choice if you can't do cow, or maybe none at all. And same with eggs. Sugar, I don't ever feel is a great food unless it's unrefined in small amounts. And then caffeine, mostly we just really overdo it. It's not that you have to completely avoid it forever, but it tends to deplete our adrenals and deplete minerals in our body and just kind of amp us up. It can cause heart palpitations, so it's good to see what you feel like without caffeine for a while. And if that's totally unrealistic, you can still have some, but you just want to have organic, good quality. And then all gluten-containing grains, because so many people have compromised gut issues or guts these days, gluten is just can be very hard to digest. And wheat is not the same food that it was 2,000 years ago in the biblical age, or even 100 years ago, or 50 years ago. If you read the book Wheat Belly, you'll understand why it's so hard to digest. It's been engineered to have, I believe now, 46 chromosomes, where originally it was only 8 chromosomes, and it has more gluten in it. So it's just become very hard to digest unless you really take measures to sprout it, sour it, ferment it, make sourdough, and even then, still a lot of people have reactions. So I'm seeing more and more people in my practice have a wheat or gluten intolerance, and they just can't handle it anymore. And what I do, I'm pretty much gluten-free myself. Occasionally I might have it, but I make my own baked goods with almond flour, and it's just delicious. I have recipes on my website, thebarefootcook.com, for almond flour baked goods. And nuts typically can be a great food, but a lot of people have nut sensitivities as well. And then soy. Soy has been touted as this new health food. And if there is a food that suddenly becomes very popular and the media is pushing it, you might want to become a little suspicious and really follow the money and find out, why is this suddenly becoming so popular? And soy is a big new food that's pushed by chemical ag. It's mostly pushed by Monsanto. And so they've got to get rid of it, and they want us to eat it. Problem with soy is it's very hard to digest. Traditional Asian cultures only ate soy if it was fermented, like miso or tempeh or little bits of tofu or natto, another food that's very hard to get down. But now we think something's a good thing, and we take it and eat it in huge quantities, like soy milk, soy protein powder, soy burgers, soy oil, soy everything. And it's dampening to the digestive fire. It's very hard on hormones. It tends to give women more estrogen, so it can lead to all kinds of uterine disorders. And it's just very hard to digest. So I recommend getting the soy out of your diet completely, but especially for this cleanse. So eating at the right times of the day. This is another important part of the cleanse. Many people cleanse because they want to lose weight, or they want to shed a few extra inches of that belly fat or fat around the thighs or the butt. And by eating at the right times, you can actually turn on your fat-burning hormones. And so I teach you how to do that in this trick. But one of the tricks is not to eat after 6 p.m., which I know can be hard for a lot of people, and not to snack at night. And basically that helps to regulate your leptin hormone, which is a newly discovered hormone. And if you can get the leptin hormone in balance, then it can naturally turn on your fat-burning hormones, so you just burn up that extra adipose tissue that you don't need. So sample recipes are included in the cleanse, like classic chicken soup, Thai lemongrass, ginger, coconut milk soup, hearty beef stew, root vegetable winter lentil stew, carrot ginger soup, cream of delicata squash soup, lemon liver flush, and many more. There's over 20 recipes in the cleanse that are included. These are all my own recipes. They're all very delicious. And it's actually can save you time to eat this way, because you can create a big pot or two of soup once a week and eat on that throughout most of the week. And then the other things you'll be making on the cleanse are fresh green veggie juice. So if you don't have a juicer, you can usually find fresh green veggie juice at Whole Foods or some local juice bars. But I do recommend getting a juicer, because it's just great to make your own fresh veggie juice. And that is a way to just deliver a lot of vitamins and minerals really quickly. So a good brand that I recommend, you might want to write it down, it's called Breville, Breville. That is a really fast juicer. You can juice a bunch of stuff in just a few minutes. Or there's another one called Omega 2003. I have both of those juicers, and I really like them. There's a great movie, if you haven't seen it. It's called Fat, Sick, and Nearly Dead. And it's about a guy who's 428 pounds, and he goes on a juice fast, which I don't recommend you doing, but for extreme cases, it worked for him. And he lost all of his weight and now looks like a normal guy and is at a normal weight. And it's just a very touching, moving, inspiring story of the power of vegetables and vegetable juice. So supporting your cleanse, I list detoxification methods, basically doing saunas. Colonics are a great way to release extra waste in your colon, getting sunshine, exercising, yoga, breathing. things like that can really help. And then setting your intention and giving yourself affirmations and visualizing how you want to be at the end of this cleanse can be very helpful. I offer other nourishing tips and how to reintroduce foods after the cleanse. So like I said, for the cleanse, you'll be eliminating certain foods that you might eat regularly, and then say day 11, you want to see how you do with wheat. So you reintroduce wheat and have something with wheat, and then really notice how you feel. And it might be really startling to you. Oh my gosh, I ate that wheat and I feel really tired. And I never noticed that before. I just felt tired all the time. And now I know that wheat makes me tired. So that's a way to do your own test on yourself, is to do an elimination diet. Instead of paying hundreds of dollars to have a food allergy test, you can just do your own elimination diet. It's still great to get a food allergy test, but this is a way to do it for free. Some results that a lot of people have experienced from the cleanse are increased mental clarity and memory, boosted energy, that's one of the biggest major results, weight loss, improved sleep, especially when you regulate your leptin hormone levels, sleep can really become much deeper and more normalized. Clearing toxic load, so most of us are carrying around toxin load, and the toxins live in our cells. They live in our interstitial fluid between our cells, and that's just from years of basically living on planet Earth, breathing the air, eating the foods that we've been eating, drinking the water that has chemicals in it. It's just hard not to avoid, and so it's good to just clean house at least once a year, if not more. Regenerating the digestive system and improving digestive issues, gaining awareness of food sensitivities, reducing inflammation, allergies, and pain. So this is basically a low or anti-inflammation diet, basically taking out any foods that might cause inflammation and bringing in foods that are very healing and will help to heal inflammation, and improving skin. So if you're interested, the Nourishing Cleanse, it's only $49. You can go to my website and purchase it online, and you can download it. And it's just a great way to jumpstart your health and really get on a good track. And I do offer nutrition consultations. Even though I live in Austin, I do phone and Skype consultations. And so if you want to try the cleanse and then work with me afterwards to stay on a good plan, even just one session can be very powerful. But I have a lot of recipes and information on my website, so you're welcome to go there at thebarefootcook.com. I also have a booth. I'll be here for a little while, meeting people and answering questions. So please come say hello, and if you have any questions at all, just don't hesitate to ask me. So does anybody have any questions right now? It doesn't have to be about the cleanse. It can be about health or recipes or anything in general. Don't be shy. Yes?
I emailed you a few days ago about the coconut flour, and I've got a book and there's recipes in there, but that coconut flour, when you use it by itself, it's a little bit dense.
Right.
What do you mix another flour with it? Or
Mm-hmm. Okay, so good questions. She asked about coconut flour. She got a cookbook that's all about coconut flour, or you got coconut flour. And your experience was using it by itself, it was a little bit dense. And yes, that can definitely be a common experience. It's very fibrous and it is dense. So I typically use almond flour and coconut flour together. A lot of my almond flour recipes might have a little bit of coconut flour. But if you take one of my recipes and just use coconut flour, it might be like hockey puck type consistency and a little too dense. So almond flour is a great flour that you can't even tell it's from a nut. It's pretty amazing.
I've got a question.
Okay, what's your question?
Kind of related to that, I got some real nasty emails after I recommended coconut oil in a newsletter saying that it would kick cholesterol up and it was a fatty, it was a, what do you call it, saturated fat and all that. Would you do your 2 cents worth on that?
Sure. So coconut oil is another one of those oils that have been demonized by the vegetable oil industry for the last 30, 40 years because it has some saturated fat. but it's actually a healthy traditional fat. It's been consumed for thousands of years, and so pretty much anything that's been around for thousands of years that our ancestors were eating is going to be good for you too. So it's a medium chain triglyceride fatty acid. It's actually impossible to gain weight from coconut oil. It's amazing for increasing energy. And the latest information and studies about coconut oil is that it is great for preventing Alzheimer's and even helping treat Alzheimer's, because it's amazing for the brain. If you take 5 to 6 tablespoons a day, it's amazing for the brain. Memory. Plus it tastes good, yes. And you can cook with it, you can eat it raw. It's just a really amazing fat. It's a traditional fat. So again, if you hear something is suddenly really bad or really good, follow the money and find out who's saying that, where'd that research come from, and really trust your guidance as well and see if that really sounds true. Any other questions? Yes. Okay, microphone is coming. How much longer?
Oh, refined coconut oil. Talk about that.
What's the question again?
Refined coconut oil versus organic.
Okay, ideally you want to get unrefined coconut oil or virgin. That's the best. Refined is just more heat treated. You can usually tell the difference by the taste. It doesn't taste as good. It might taste a little bit sour in the back of your throat or a little bit rancid. So you just want to look for unrefined, virgin, raw. Those are the key words to look for.
Thank you, man.
Thank you.
You're going to be around for a while?
Yes, I'll be around. You can come ask me questions at the booth. Thank you so much.
Great.
Thank you.